Today we're turning every type of meat into hot dogs.
They're eating the dogs.
From Wagyu A5 to Python to dry-aged camel, it's time to answer one of life's most important questions. Will it dog? Will it dog? Will it dog? Dog, will it? And there is a surprising amount of controversy around whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich. So let me know down in the comments what you think it is so we can settle this once and for all. Now, hot dogs are typically made with beef, pork, or some combination of the two, but today we are of course getting way more exotic with it, but for our very first contender, we're going with beef. In the beef category, we'll be keeping one traditional with a chuck roast, while the second will be an extremely premium hot dog made out of Wagyu A5. Now, the hot dog gods might get mad at me for turning this beautiful Wagyu A5 steak into a hot dog, but some things must be done in the name of meat science. See? Hot dog gods, what you got? That's all you guys got?
Is this all you can conjure, Saruman?
Ah! We'll start by slicing up the chuck roast, and this is the perfect cut for our standard all beef hot dog due to the rich flavor and fairly balanced meat to fat ratio. Typically, we'd like to aim for around 20 to 30% fat. Next, we'll slice up that Wagyu A5. This stuff is literally over 50% fat, so honestly, I have no idea if this will even work as a dog. And now we grind. And the key is keeping the meat nice and cold for way easier grinding. At this point, the beef is nicely ground, but we're actually gonna put it through a second and third time at an even more fine grind. As you can see, it's already a lot more fine. Time for one more round. That is quite the time-intensive process, and at this point, that meat is as ground as it's gonna get. Gotta be honest, this feels very wrong, but it is time to grind the Wagyu.
No, God, please, no!
This stuff is crazy. I mean, it literally looks like all fat when it's ground up. It's almost like butter. And one more grind. It's already looking like a mini hot dog, but we should be good to go. Starting with our all beef chuck roast hot dog, it's time to season. We have all sorts of seasonings here like onion, garlic, coriander, and mustard seed. I'm shooting for a traditional hot dog flavor with this one. Another interesting ingredient we'll be adding is this milk powder. This stuff is gonna act as our binder. Last but not least, our pink curing salt. This is gonna give us that distinctive cured look and taste. And we'll give it a mix, slowly adding in our ice cold water. We have a nice tacky texture with great protein extraction. This should be perfect. And we'll do the exact same thing for the Wagyu A5. And the Wagyu's taken on a significantly more like orange color. Doesn't look super appetizing at this point. Kind of looks like pate or something. And it is finally time to stuff the meat.
How are you gonna stuff all that meat, Max?
I'm glad you asked. I give you the Meat Master 5000. And we'll add our hot dog meat to the hopper, load her up, we'll throw on the casing. That dog is killing me. I'm trying to make a dog over here. And we'll stuff the dog. And we have liftoff. Oh, it's perfect. Come on.
That is a perfect sized dog. Very substantially girthed hot dog.
This is going perfectly well. Oh, air pockets. There we go. Now we're cruising.
Stuffing beef hot dogs. This is exactly where I thought I'd be in life right now. That sound was weird.
I'd say that is a pretty successful log of dog. Play like jump rope with this thing. Nicely packed with pretty limited air pockets. This should be perfect. Finally, we'll just twist off the hot dogs. Next up, the Wagyu A5. And this is what a Wagyu A5 ribeye looks like in hot dog form. And just based on color, you can really see the difference between the darker chuck roast compared to that Wagyu A5. But all that's left to do is let them cure in the fridge overnight. It has been 12 hours in the fridge, and this is what we got. They've firmed up a bit, though still relatively soft to the touch. And you can see how the cure has darkened it up. And the next part of the cooking process is to throw them in a sous vide bag to cook. And in they go at 142 Fahrenheit. 2 hours are up, and they should be done. Next, we'll throw them into an ice bath to shock and stop the cooking process. I cannot believe how good these look and smell. I also don't know what I was expecting, but these appear to be legit hot dogs. Some hot dogs have an edible casing, but I recently found out that a lot of the popular brands you'll find are skinless. So we're actually going to peel the casing off like so until we're left with this. And there it is, our links of perfect Wagyu A5 hot dogs. But I can tell so much of that fat has rendered out. This one should be interesting. I'm gonna cut right in between here, that juicy part. Oh, honestly, that is kind of gross. And we'll remove that casing from the Wagyu A5 dog. So much of that fat has rendered out. Really hope this thing still tastes good. Completely covered in that rendered fat. Gonna give it a quick rinse. This is the final result. Time to cook them up. They're already cooked, so just gonna heat them back up with a quick steam, followed by a touch of oil to get them nice and crispy. Because whether it's hot dog or steak, the crust is always my favorite part. Right off the bat, you can see that the Wagyu A5 hot dog is significantly smaller than the normal beef dog. I'm just really hoping enough of the fat remained inside to keep it juicy. Hit them with some simple toppings of ketchup, mustard, and onions, and after slicing into them, somehow the regular chuck dog just visually appears to be way bigger and juicier than the Wagyu A5, which is the last thing I was expecting. I mean, that Wagyu A5 one seems to have some major shrinkage. We are starting off very tame here with our first hot dog. Cheers.
Your hot dog skills have improved a lot. The last hot dog I ate that Max made was in the Costco parking lot. That was disgusting. This one is super good and actually has the consistency and texture of a real hot dog.
Flavor is really nice as well. It reminds me of a classic hot dog.
I'd say it's slightly more dense than some of the store-bought stuff, but this right here is a 10 out of 10.
It even has that little booty thing, you know? The little booty scrunches.
I think we can all agree that when it comes to chuck roast,
It dogs.
moving on to number 2, and this one is extremely special.
Gritty is the only word I can describe. It's not good.
I get dry.
Okay, our first hot dog was a $1 hot dog. This is like a $50 hot dog.
Whoa.
This is a Wagyu. That is so disappointing. Every time I grind Wagyu, it inevitably turns out to be a massive mistake. Did not work on the Slim Jim, did not work on the hot dog. Will it work on the meatball or the meatloaf that I have planned in the future? Tibby, bad timing. You want some dog? You're a cat. No cat, no dog for you. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. In a massive disappointment, and unfortunately that means that Wagyu A5
Does not dog.
Next up, chicken dog. We have our finely ground chicken, but the seasoning on this one is very different. In my opinion, there is nothing better than buffalo chicken, so I'll start by adding this Frank's buffalo seasoning. I'm telling you, it smells exactly like the sauce. And when it comes to the question of ranch or blue cheese, I am a firm blue cheese believer. So this is half milk powder, half blue cheese powder. And that is the texture we're looking for. Time to stuff the chicken dogs. Oh man, that is a snug fit. Speaking of a perfectly snug fit, that brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Bombas. You all know I love my black t-shirts, and it's super important that they actually fit, are durable, and feel good. These check all my boxes. The fabric is soft, breathable, and there's no itchy tag. It feels like I'm wearing a cloud. The socks are also next level. There's no annoying seams on the toes, and they hug your feet just right. You can really feel the difference. But best of all is the underwear. They're extremely breathable with the perfect amount of stretch. They've spent years on R&D, testing and creating products for ultimate comfort. Bombas is also a purpose-driven brand. With every item purchased, one gets donated. They make the top 3 most requested clothing items in homeless shelters, socks, underwear, and t-shirts, and have donated over 100 million clothing items across the US. Feel good and do good with Bombas, knowing your purchase is doing some real good, not to mention their 100% happiness guarantee. New customers get 20% off their first purchase. Just click the link in the description or go to bombas.com/max and use code MAX20 at checkout. And after 2 hours in the sous vide, our buffalo chicken dogs are done. It definitely smells very chickeny, not particularly in a good way either.
It actually kind of smells like raw chicken even though it's cooked.
I'll remove the casings, quick sear, and assemble the buffalo chicken dog. Topped with some spicy sauce, carrots, celery, and blue cheese, and I have to say it is looking way better than I could have hoped.
Wow, Max, this one is a piece of art. It's beautiful. Altogether, the whole bite is really good, but I'm having trouble tasting just the dog.
I absolutely love it. Taste the dog on its own.
Wow, that is great.
Right?
Texture, great.
Love the texture.
Juicy.
I love the flavor. The texture is actually pretty good. That's a great hot dog.
It still has a bite to it, but you get like that Frank's powder, a little bit of the blue cheese. Do chicken dogs dog?
Bay dog.
Venison hot dog, and I have high hopes for this one. This is a beautiful venison backstrap, and it's extremely lean, so I decided to add a bit of pork fat to the mix. With our venison ground, we'll add in all the spices. Venison also pairs perfectly with fresh herbs, so we're gonna try adding some fresh rosemary, as well as some of my chimichurri seasoning. I have no idea if fresh herbs can go in a hot dog, so we'll see how this goes.
That's a dog right there.
That's a dog right there. That's really good. And we're left with our perfect venison hot dogs that will cure overnight. Our venison dogs have cured, and after sous videing for 2 hours, I gotta say, they're looking great. This one smells amazing. At this point, you guys know the drill. Remove the casing and sear them up. Topped with a homemade raspberry mustard glaze to complement the wild game meat flavor, along with some dried rosemary for a little extra pop of texture and flavor.
Tibby's eating a broom and he's gonna throw it up. Tibby, what the man? Whoa.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it too, it's so good.
That jam, the herbs, texture, this is like holiday in a dog.
It's a hollow dog. Paired with the venison, it has those like wild herbaceous flavors.
Super good sauce, and then that fried rosemary. It adds a really nice, like crispy flavor on top, so good.
That one for sure.
Dogs.
And next up we have a cat dog. I'm just kidding, Tibby. I would never turn you into a dog, much less a hot dog. Hey, sleepy boy. We've heard of salmon burgers, so why not salmon dogs? Salmon is significantly more delicate than the other meat we've used today, so I'm a bit skeptical that it'll even hold its dog shape. The Wagyu felt wrong, but this feels pretty wrong too. Whoa, that is crazy. Pretty crazy texture at this point, but we'll give it one more grind. We've achieved salmon mush. For the salmon, we're sticking with our original spice mix, but we do have an interesting addition. This is a whole fresh wasabi root. At $100, the real deal is for sure a premium ingredient. We'll remove some of that outer bark and we'll grind it up on a traditional shark skin wasabi grater. These things are super cool. Kind of crazy, this is legit shark skin. Wow, it just tastes so much more natural than the bottled stuff, and it for sure has a kick to it. And we'll add it to the mix. We gave it quite a bit of mixing, but the texture on this is just completely different. It's a lot more wet, and the protein extraction doesn't seem quite as good, but there's only one way to find out. Uh-oh. Okay, whoa, hello. Oh my.
Looks like a carrot.
Not gonna lie, that is a stunning color on this log of salmon dog. And just check out our salmon hot dog. Honestly, it looks more like a carrot dog. I have to say these might be our best looking dogs yet into the fridge to cure. And after curing and sous videing, this is how they look. And for Max. We'll slice off our individual dogs and remove the casing. Somehow they seem to have maintained their shape. Thought this one would completely fall apart, but it's extremely firm. Hopes could not be any higher right now. And we'll give it a quick sear. Topping this one with a little bit of tartar sauce, and because the fried rosemary on the last one was such a hit, finishing with some fried dill. We are still in relatively tame territory, though I bet you've never seen what's inside of here in dog form.
Please tell me it's not like turtle or something.
I wouldn't do that to you again.
I don't know what I'm eating, but it tastes pretty good. The sauce is great too.
If I didn't know what this was, I wouldn't know what it is.
I really like the flavors, and honestly, that little crispy dill on top adds a good textural change because it's a lot of the same texture.
The sauce is more powerful than the dog flavor.
So inside of this dog is virtually 100% salmon.
Wow.
Like very limited additives.
Even knowing what it is and tasting it on its own, I still can't really tell what it is.
I would think it's like a chicken or a turkey sausage, and it's juicy.
I'd say we're all in agreement, somehow, salmon dogs.
It dogs.
It does dog.
On dogs.
We are reaching some truly uncharted territory. It's time for lobster hot dogs, AKA logs. Thank you, Mr. Lobster, I appreciate you. Very carefully removing as much of this lobster meat as possible, which is significantly harder to do when it's raw. Now, because this lobster meat is so delicate, we're actually grinding by hand. Feels weird doing this to lobster meat, but we want this super, super fine. We've achieved lobster paste. We'll add in all our seasonings. And to freshen it up, we're gonna finish with some lime zest. Doing everything by hand with this one, and it has a similarly wet texture as the salmon. Something about this doesn't feel right. In with the lobster. Oh, look at that thing. Well, there it is, guys, our lobster hot dog. Honestly, I had very little confidence it would ever get to a point that it actually looked like a hot dog, so I am pretty happy with this. You can see those little flakes of lime zest in there. I mean, that right there looks like a hot dog. With our perfect lengths of lobster dog, we'll let this cure overnight. And 12 hours later, our lobster dogs have been cured. They feel very soft, almost juicy. I hope these maintain their shape. And into the sous vide it goes. 2 hours are up, and it should be done. And ice bath to shock. Peeling off the casing, we have what may just be the first ever lobster hot dog. I never would have guessed lobster crisps up like this. The crust is somehow better than any of our other dogs. Finished with a tarragon cream sauce and lime zest, I give you a lobster hot dog.
That dog looks a little sus. Burned and all warty or something. Oh, I do not like this one.
I love the flavor. Zesty, herbaceous, not fishy, but I can tell it's some sort of seafood.
I hate everything about that. The texture, the flavor, the sauce.
Let me try just the dog. I got a shell.
I think it dogs.
You know my answer, no way.
There's parts of it that I love. Unfortunately, today I'm gonna have to say that lobster does not dog.
Come on, guys.
Flavor was good, texture just wasn't there, and the more you eat it, the weirder it gets.
I'll have it.
This is a crazy one, dry-aged camel hot dogs. Camel is an extremely gamey meat, so I can only imagine how it will taste in hot dog form. And cutting into it, I can't lie, these camel steaks look better than some beef ribeyes I've seen in stores. Finely ground, dry-aged camel. It weirdly doesn't smell gamey at all because I know for a fact that camel tastes very gamey.
Tastes like a barn smell.
Let's season it. Salt, binder, sugar, and curing salt. We have a super potent Middle Eastern spice blend that I'm hoping will mask some of that funky camel flavor. Let's stuff that camel dog. And we have liftoff. Look at that flow. They never believed in me. They said I didn't have what it took. Now I say to them, Kyle, look at me now. That is a perfection log of diggity dog.
Yeah, you sure showed them, Max.
Zero part of me believes this dry-aged camel hot dog will taste good, but at least visually, we should be good to go. And just like the rest, our camel hot dogs have been cured and sous vide, and this is how they're looking. We'll remove the casing, and it looks very similar to the venison and beef hot dogs from before. The crust also looks consistent and super amazing, probably due to the fact that it's been dry-aged. Topped with some potent whole grain honey mustard to hopefully cut through the gamey flavor, and that right there is a dry-aged camel dog. Nope.
Max, what the was that?
When you eat camel in its non-dry aged form, it is excessively gamey. When you dry age it and then throw it into a hot dog, the gaminess compounds like ×7 for one of the worst bites that I've put these people through. And I put them through some crazy stuff.
It's like manure with mustard on top.
I distinctly remember that bite of camel we had last time. A whole barn's worth of flavor condensed into a hot dog.
It was also just super dense.
Grainy,
Not.
funky. Like, long story short, it does not dog.
Not dog.
We have made it to our most exotic hot dog, python. Fried Cajun python nuggets is pretty much the only way I know of people eating python, so we're adding a bunch of Cajun seasonings, followed by the milk powder binder as well as the pink curing salt. And just like that, it's ready to stuff. At this point, we're basically professional hot dog stuffers. I mean, just look at that consistency. Well, this python started as a snake, and in its final form, it is once again a snake. Well, we've unfortunately had a casualty, which has only left us with 2 usable dogs, but either way, they're looking great. Let's let them cure. After curing and sous viding, the python dogs have taken on a pretty light color, but so far they're looking good. That was great. Slice them up and remove the casing to reveal a significantly lighter colored dog than usual, and gave it a quick sear until a perfect golden brown exterior. Finish with some Cajun mayo and lemon zest to brighten it up, and it's time to eat.
What is in our stomach right now? Lobster, camel, venison, beef.
Do you want me to bring the opossum dog
I take it
out?
back.
I'm bringing out the opossum dog.
I take it back.
Little tuna dog.
Y'all ready for this?
I have no idea what this tastes like.
The flavor is very mellow.
It's a mild flavor.
For me, it's just like, it'll taste like whatever sauce you put on it. The sauce is great. It's kind of, it's like Cajun-y, spicy mayo. It's certainly not bad, and I think with the sauce on top, it's pretty good.
It kind of reminds me of the chicken dog.
Honestly, if I knew what I was eating, I think I would enjoy it.
I think so too. This is python. This is a snake.
I was thinking if I went to a baseball game, would I order this over a classic dog? I might.
Yeah, who the hell is ordering a python dog at a baseball game?
Does it dog?
I think it dogs.
It dogs. Does it dog?
It dogs.
Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And like and subscribe right over here.